Yeah, pretty much.
You know, something I just, I remember camp, and I love math and everything else. So if you got, okay, so say you've got your day from here, but why couldn't you do the center for like plants on this side, chickens on this side, and once you figure out what size it needs to be for the proper ground?
Well, here there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things here, right? Let's say you do a cylindrical. Let me, because you killed me day one. I didn't get off the ground. You shot the wings off the plane before it got off the playing field. Let me start over, and I'm kind of stressed because every time I get interrupted, I have to rebuild my whole world again, right? Let's say that you have a cylinder that you're spinning such that the inside diameter of it at the extreme is 1 g at 1 mile in diameter by 5 miles long, but outside of that is your life support system, right? And you have different, like stories in a building, you have layers that go pretty much to the center, right? And each one has a different G load because of its distance from the thing, the square of the diameter kind of stuff, right? But you get a decreasing volume, okay? The part of the thing that you could utilize that, but you're still going to need more than that outside of that, because if you take one human being and you say, how many plants do you need to produce per year for that person? How many chickens do you need to produce per year for that person? How many salmon, how many trout, how many crayfish, how many turtles do you feed that person per year? For everything, every agricultural organism, period, including the cotton, right? How much artificial gas processing equipment do you need to make up for the imbalances that are inherently going to happen? Because Biosphere 2 taught us a lot of lessons. They almost suffocated, right? Because we need more plants to exist than animals in order to make up that oxygen, and we can't really afford that because we don't utilize all that. So in order to be efficient, we use artificial systems, and they make up the difference so that we can grow as many plants and animals in whatever proportion works best for us. But overall, each single human being, let's say they have an apartment room, right, that's 50 feet by 50 feet by 50 feet square, right? They're going to need a lot more than that of space in order to produce the goods that we need, and to process the air, and to process the water, and to do these things. And some of those systems need various different G loads, from 0 to 1. So you build a space station within which you can custom build as many of these centrifuges at whatever size from 1 mile diameter and down. If you decide you want to raise chickens, and you happen to know that for turtles or trout you need less, but you still need G, you look up in the book, it's got a graph, you look at the graph, you look down the graph, and you say, this species of this very specific type, this is the recommended G load. So you put that on your centrifuge. You may have different classes of centrifuges. You may break them down into convenient A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
HIJK, elemental P.
Exactly.
STD,
nice lady.
HIV and AIDS.
No, we'll skip that part. But
I'm just saying, every single letter
you look at the graph, and it says your trout, it recommends this rotation at this diameter, which this diameter falls into this general class, which will work for you. So you set your potentiometer on a class B, whatever, centrifuge, designed to carry a water load at a certain rotational speed at a certain diameter, blah, 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 blah. And then you can raise tilapia in one by setting the temperature for tilapia at a G load that works for tilapia. but your overall space station doesn't spin.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket. Here, an artist's conception of how the feat was accomplished. A 3-stage rocket. Number 1, the booster in the class of an intercontinental missile. Its weight estimated at 50 tons. The smaller second stage took over at 5,000 miles an hour and carried on to the highest point reached. 500 miles up, the artificial moon is boosted to a speed counterbalancing the pull of gravity and released. You are hearing the actual signals transmitted by the Earth-circling satellite. One of the great scientific feats of the age.